The Square Ball Podcast.
We're on to the Leeds United third kit now. Rhubarb and custard is going to be the discussion. Welcome to the show. Dan here with Michael and Ed Cowburn as well, who's responsible for designing the 23-24 Leeds United suite of kits, the Peacock suite that runs out throughout them all. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball for a 10% discount on your legal fees. The big three.
The third kit we're on to,
yep,
which is conveyancing.
After wills and probate, we've gone to conveyancing.
Buying a house and that.
It is buying a house and that. Documents, land searches, all the fun stuff. Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
No.
Let Levi Solicitors do it.
Absolutely. And you should. It's probably a lot easier to let Levi's do it than try doing it yourself. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball for your 10% discount on that. Right then, Ed. Let's absolutely
explain yourself.
Let's destroy this man now. We've been nice to you so far with your home and your away kit. Talk to us about this third kit, because it's the most controversial. Is the only way to describe it. Really.
Well, according to online, I should be fired. So I've tried to fire myself, but unfortunately, I wasn't listening.
So just to reiterate that, in terms of the shape of these kits, all three have got the same shape, the same like panels, template.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which is something that people might not be aware of. So like there's the tape that runs down the seam under the arms to the waist, and it runs around the back as well, doesn't it? On the designs this year for Adidas. So this one was the one that I think it leaked first. Did this one, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And as I said before, it was like an infant version. So it was all over the place. And I'll explain why as we go along.
Yeah. And people went, "What is that? What are you doing?
That can't be real."
Yeah. And it is real. And we've got it. And it's a Leeds United kit. And explain yourself. Go on then. There we go. So if you're on the video version, Ed's holding up the two versions of the kit, which I see what you mean now, that about the patterns are unique, which you mentioned in the previous episode, that they are all different. But that's what you're saying. That's a 60 centimetre when they're printing the fabric, the Adidas Towers. That's a 60 centimetre tile, you say?
Yes. So I asked, you can do it smaller, but the maximum that they do is a 60 centimetre repeat tile. So how this artwork's been created, and it was the same with the away, is have a box that's 60 centimetres on each side, and I had to create a workout that where there's a peacock feather, so that's one of the many things that we'll get into, but peacock feather that runs in, that it might start at the top corner on one place, and then it finishes at the beginning of the bottom on the other place.
You'll remember being at school and doing art, and it's tessellation, isn't it?
It is.
Tessellation.
Well done.
I remember. Thank you very much. So it runs off one side, then comes back in on the other. But yes, essentially it's a repeating pattern. Yeah.
Which is quite complicated. Thankfully, there's software that helps you do that. But that's effectively that's the kind of technical bit of this.
What software are you designing this in?
Illustrator.
Yeah, Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. Okay. Have used that. Looks quite complicated. So. Colours. Let's start with colours. I don't know where to start with this, because it's the one that's got most people chattering about the kit designs. It's provoked the biggest reaction for obvious reasons, because the colours are so out there. We've been talking about it, and we've been sort of teeing this up as rhubarb and custard. So, talk to us about the colours.
Well, I think the place to sort of begin with, and I did have kind of colours in mind. Home is white, got navy away kit, so. It's like, where do we fit into the middle? Back to kind of when we play QPR, what they're going to wear, and knowing that we're not going to do yellow. Well, we kind of have sand, actually, as if you want to be technical. And
rhubarb and sand,
delicious. I wanted a color combination that was new. And back to this idea about peacocks being audible for such a long distance away. I had that in mind, and I also had, certainly on the pitch, is like I wanted the players to know where each other was, so be loud from a vibrancy and colour perspective. So I looked through all the kits, and it might be for a lot of fans is like this isn't about heritage. There's nothing to do with heritage, and I kind of say that I kind of did look at everything that we've done, and I kind of wanted to do something new, but also reference a little bit. So the reference to me was kind of the pink kit, the pink and grey kit that we got promoted in, right?
Right.
So looking at that and going, well, we did that pink, and at the time, if you remember, nobody really liked that either. So I feel like it's a very similar reaction to when that came out. And I just thought, I think we're ready for more pink. I think we should push more pink as being, kind of where the basis of this is. And then it was like, how can we kind of add colour into it so that, honestly, if you saw a kit 200 metres away, could it be a kit that uniquely in the world of football, I mean, it's quite a challenge to myself, but uniquely, there could be no argument that is nothing. It could only be this kit. And I'd like to think I kind of achieved that. I was out in Roundhay Park last week and seeing the kids playing football on a Sunday morning, and there's a girl wearing the full kit, and there's just no doubting. And so in that sense, I've achieved my own kind of personal goal, because I kind of want, we're Leeds fans, and we are different. We're a different breed to most clubs. And I always like that thing when you go on holiday and you kind of by the pool and you see somebody and they've got a Leeds towel or something, and you give the salute, and it's like, there you go. And with this, you can see him fucking miles away.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, though?
I don't know. I think it's a good thing, and yeah. So the colours kind of came from that, but I had in mind kind of that kind of summery vibe, and the bit in the summer where middle-aged blokes do kind of peacock, the term where you go out and they wear Hawaiian shirts and they embarrass their kids, or on the golf course, or at weddings when they wear, waistcoats with, loud patterns on. I kind of had all that in mind. And it's like, whilst this was designed for a kind of, maybe a Gen Z, Gen Alpha, but...
I hate you for this.
I know, I'm sorry.
I'm joking.
but I think anyone that says that I didn't have in mind kind of a middle-aged bloke, so, well, I'm one, and I absolutely was thinking about that. Maybe I shouldn't have been. It sounds odd thinking about middle-aged blokes all the time, but peacocking was the big thing here. I think that's what we should get to is, how can we show peacocking at its most bold?
So it's deliberately outrageous?
Yeah, we definitely wanted to kind of like, have people talking. I that was part of it. I had to, it was hard when the kit was launched, but that's absolutely, it was like, we want a kit that people are going to talk about, and I suppose it's like any PR is like, if people are talking about it, then the job is done, even if people have a slight negative reaction to it.
When something like this is launched, do you almost wish you could put out like the video we're doing now with it to go, look, I'm going to show you this. Let me just explain. I just need to know what my thought process was, because I know this has been probably the least popular of the three, but I suppose I would defend it on the basis that, well, I can tell someone has designed it and there's thought gone into it, which has not always been the case with a lot of shirts. There's some, like the one from last year, the
stripy thing,
Sammy's pajamas thing. That was just like just some colours Leeds shirt.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest bit about being a designer, is when anyone says, who's designed this? It must have taken 5 minutes. What my kid could have done better and everything else. And it's like, well, go off and do that. Show me you can. But a lot of thought went into this.
And it still came out looking like this.
I know.
I'm pulling you.
I liked it as well when someone spotted as well the little bit of 1970s
the
bubble text in it as well.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. You see that and you go, oh, okay. Like if I was maybe on the fence with it, I see that and I go, oh, okay, no, good. I like that now.
So that's exactly the reaction I wanted. So if we go back to the home, we've got that traditional Art Deco feather print. You then take it to the next level with the away kit, which essentially is the same sort of format of pattern. And then for the third, it was like, where do we take it next? So actually, if you look, there's loads and loads of things hidden in the pattern.
What's in it? Tell us.
So, and again, remembering that under UEFA guidelines it can't be something that's instantly visible as a thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't do it. So hence why, things are broken up and they're purposefully difficult to find. But I always had in my head, that's the reward. If you kind of look hard enough and you find things and then you get those references and they're Easter eggs, they're there to be found. So,
well, I've spotted that in the middle of the graphic that we've got. So it's you're holding the shirt up there. Obviously, you can see the peacock feather sort of bottom right there, which is quite obvious. But
yeah, so peacock feather here.
And then over in the bottom left, you've got the actual peacock itself broken up, haven't you?
Yes.
Is that right?
So you can it's kind of in the middle. It's in the middle here, with the heads, and it's kind of been broken up and pulled apart, and you start to see where that is that the repeat? I can't remember. It's here and here. So you can see that one is the end of this one.
Yep.
But then you've got kind of peacock patterns, just turned into just really graphic. And then, as you say, there's
bubble text.
Bubble text of United there.
Leeds is just above it as well.
Yeah. And here as well. There. You've also got there's a half tone. So for anyone, if you remember, comics printed
dots,
in dots.
Yeah. So
that dots appeared on the grey and black and pink kit, and so that I wanted to bring that in, and that's kind of a nod back to that. What else is in there? There's a peacock claw, which is kind of on this one is here.
Oh yeah, that's the leg, is it?
That's the leg. Which I think when it was first put out, somebody said it looks like the woman gremlin.
Right.
Because that was the thing I was most concerned about, because you always are when you do something like this, which has got it's got loads of different things on.
You don't want to accidentally put a giant cock on it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So that was another plenty of fears going and plenty of worry, but one of them was always, have I missed something? And actually, there's a portrait of Ken Bates in here that I didn't realise was there.
Like one of those magic eye pictures.
I remember when the London 2012 logo came out, and straight away people were saying it looks like Lisa Simpson giving a blowjob, and everyone was like, "Oh, I can see now."
Yeah.
kind of ruined it with the.
It's like the most classic one in football shirt history is the Fiorentina '92 kit.
Oh, the swastikas,
which has got. Which I mean, you look at it now, and I was talking about it yesterday with a friend of mine, and. It's absolutely insane that it wasn't noticed, because it is right there, repeated.
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully there's nothing that crazy in here.
So any other Easter eggs though? So you've got the claw, you've got the bubble writing, you've got the feathers, you've got the peacock pattern.
Yeah, there's a few different kind of peacock versions, peacock pattern versions in there. No, and do you know what? I think in hindsight, I kind of wish I'd have hidden a bit more, and maybe just for my own personal, nothing. Steve Evans sombreros in there.
Yep.
No, it's not.
It would go with the whole shirt thing. Yeah. The irony is.
Yeah. So it is crazy, and then the other stipulation with it was, once you start doing crazy patterns, and we didn't mention it in the weight shirt, is you have to have a plain back on the Adidas.
Is that UEFA or is that Adidas?
It's bit of both.
Right.
Bit of both, and it's also print costs as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mentioned that because Newcastle in the Champions League have got a plain back on their shirts.
Yes.
Whereas when they're wearing it in the Premier League, it doesn't have a plain back panel, it's got the stripes.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that going. All right, so the Adidas that is a back panel thing is Adidas, it's UEFA, it's just one of those things you have to generally do.
Yes.
And why pink then rather than yellow? Because is it because pink is the base colour of this kit?
Yeah, as I say, I wanted to. We haven't had a pink kit before, and I thought it was about time we did. And it opens us up to a new audience a little bit, and obviously you can't get away from people sort of saying, "No, this is a girls' kit," and I don't think it is. I like wearing pink. It's a good colour. And it's visible, and hopefully on the pitch, they've only played in it once. Hopefully, I think this is the case for all of it. Hopefully, we have a really good season. It continues, and this becomes a cult kit, because in the same way as the grey and the pink one.
That's what I said to you. I remember we had a chat around the release date, didn't we? We exchanged messages, and I said I think I might have even absolutely put my neck on the chopping block and said, these are promotion kits. But, which you said, don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that. But I said, just imagine though that we lift the championship title or get promoted or whatever in these, and they will in years to come. People will go, I remember that. That was absolutely batshit.
Jorginho looks amazing in the pink kit.
That was absolutely batshit mental, that kit. But we won in it, and we did good things, and we made good memories. So
yeah, and then you kind of fast forward another 10 years, and you think that it becomes like a retro thing, and the taking kind of those colours and like bringing it back, and it's it all comes down. It is a huge responsibility, and I understand, where people, subjectively can not like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing a lot of people wearing it. So we just need to, win some games.
Leeds United need to make it good.
Yeah.
It's like the maroon away kit. When I first saw that, I was a bit, I don't know about it. Then I saw Rafinha scoring a goal. I think it was Everton. It was really heavy rain, and he just looked glorious in it, and he scored, and it was like, it's pretty cool, actually, that. I don't mind it anymore, but that was, Rafinha salvaged that one for me.
Yeah. Do you accept it's completely batshit mental, this kit? Like, that was a deliberate choice to...
No, I still look at it and I see people wearing it and think, how does this exist? It is, and credit to kind of like those involved, with the club, and, we purposefully wanted to push it. And I was given that, that kind of, that level of acceptance or autonomy with the design process to go. There was a point in the design process where I can't remember who it was, but it was like, go and do what you would do, like almost sort of leave the brief for a second, because whether we'd reached a bit of a point of, going around in circles a little bit, and, go off and do what you think would work. And this is what came out of that.
Was there ever a time at which you would have gone for other colours? Did you play with other colours for this?
I was going to say, does it tie in with the Leeds Year of Culture stuff as well? Because I know it's slightly less vibrant than the colours they've gone, but it's roughly the same.
Yeah, I definitely had that in mind. I thought with the colours, if we can, the two nods, definitely the City of Culture thing was sort of in my head, because they'd already started kind of doing a lot of the promotion work at that point, and I thought that's just a nice thing, to do. And then the other thing, we mentioned before, rhubarb and custard was in my head as another, and it's tenuous, but the rhubarb triangle. And if anyone doesn't know about the rhubarb triangle, do look it up. We should be famous in West Yorkshire more for being the best growers of forced rhubarb in the world. And
Champions of forced rhubarb, you'll never see that.
And what better way to celebrate that than have it as the colours on a Leeds shirt?
And it's I don't know. I think rhubarb and custard as well. It reminds me of the cartoon Rhubarb and Custard, which was quite anarchic. If you remember the theme tune to that,
absolutely. There's
a bit of anarchy built into that. Talk to me about the accent colour then, because you went for like a navy blue. Did that come first or last, or what was you thinking there? Is it just because it's another nod?
That again that came fairly early on. I think it's similar to the away kit having the mint. It's like I want something that allows the. Maybe takes away from some of the wildness by, having a bold colour that's really visible. And it is on some of the leaks. Everyone was mentioning it's black. It's black. I was like, why would it have been black?
Yeah.
Like obviously.
But then again, you're going back to the last few years of kits when
when all design decisions were off.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So
yeah.
Why would it be a Wolves kit? It just is.
Yeah. I do wonder in past years whether. The owner of the club perhaps thought, you look at what Real Madrid have done with Adidas, which is to play with the accent colours quite a lot of Real Madrid. But the difference is they've got years of heritage to underpin it, and they've got years and years and years of relationship with Adidas in the bank there as well, haven't they? It's a different...
Yeah, and it probably goes back to what you were saying on the other episode about, the change in the way that these things are looked at from like when we were young, like in the 80s and stuff, is there just wasn't that fuss around kits. It was just like, this is what you're given, and then you just got on with it. So it's kind of strange looking back, as Real Madrid is a really good example, because obviously our white kits modelled on them, but they've had loads and loads of different colours to go with that white. And I don't know many Real Madrid fans, but I don't know if they were at any point, like through that 80s, 90s, where they were playing with different tones of purple or navy, of whether anyone was that bothered about it. But you can imagine these days, well, as we're finding with previous Leeds kits, people will be all over it. I don't know what happens in future. I don't know whether what happens, whether we stick to it, whether there's...
I don't know if Real Madrid is such a global entity that it's almost accepted that they're going to do slightly mad stuff. I mean, I don't know what the Real Madrid fan reaction was to them, the Super League stuff, for example, or whether a lot of their fans will go, "No, fine."
Well, it's funny because they see themselves. I know we're getting sidelined here with something else, but they see themselves as a European club almost, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They almost prioritise the European Cup and all that above La Liga to some extent.
I suppose from a design perspective, that extra level of freedom would be quite nice to know that you can kind of come to the table and go, well, yeah, I mean, we can design kind of whatever accent colours we want because we haven't got one that's ours. But I was back to the home kit. I was kind of grateful that we just went, let's stick to, tradition.
And do you think the kits obviously should be viewed as a suite of three? Like, I don't know, they were designed together, but like the madness of the third is mitigated by the good sense of the first.
That's absolutely what it is. And, if you're a massive Leeds fan and you always buy the kits, it doesn't really matter what they are. But it was always that the choice was having a home kit that was very, very classic means that you're going to be okay with basically every fan. And then as you went through, it just dialed it up, so that we can see where it goes and you can appeal to as many people as possible. Third kits are supposed to be wild, and this one, certainly is. But then across other clubs, and again, we don't tend to maybe look at what other clubs are putting out and how we feel about them, but, the Adidas third kits for all clubs this year, check out the Arsenal one. It's neon yellow with a kind of
there's a wavy pattern,
black pattern, and like sort of cyan, turquoise, blue. It's bonkers. And when I saw that, I was like, well, okay, mine kind of like is at a similar level. It doesn't suddenly look quite as mad as when you look at it just on its own.
Anything you change about this one though?
That's a good question. I mean, anyone that's worked with me knows that I would change and change and change and change. So I think the answer is probably yes, but I don't know what I would change until I'd just start tinkering again, and it would just go on and on.
And that's just one of those creative mindset things, I think.
Yeah.
It's never finished.
Yeah.
And at some point, you just got to let it go.
Yeah, and I think as I've got older, you try and look at things now and just go, it is what it is, and it's a finished piece, and move on. And when anyone says, what's your favorite thing you've ever designed, it's the next thing. It's the next project.
Yeah.
So,
admittedly, I know to wrap this up, it's a bit like picking your favourite child. But do you have a favourite of the three? Because I get the feeling it's probably the away shirt.
Yeah, no, the away shirt. I think that's one that I wouldn't change a thing. I think it's exactly kind of where I would want it to be. I think I've seen it on people, and that's one of the most amazing things about all this is like you see it on the players, but then people are buying it.
Yeah.
And I literally, and I have done it a few times, I want to go up and speak to everybody that's wearing it and go,
why did you buy it?
Do you actually like it, or are you wearing it because you've kind of got to because it's this year's Leeds kit? And in my head, it was always like partly that. It was like I want people to really like it and not feel that they've just got to buy it because it's this year's kit.
Yeah. I mean, imagine the price of kits these days is such that it's got to be an active buying choice, surely. There are, like you say, people that will just buy them every year because that's what they do. But even still, they're not cheap things, are they? And
no, not at all.
You're not necessarily going to go out and buy all three at once.
Especially if you put in all the names and numbers and badges and everything else. And, it is expensive.
Oh, that's what I would change about the third kit, by the way. They should have put the numbers in navy because they're hard to pick out in yellow. I noticed that from when we played Birmingham.
Yeah.
But
wasn't something I was involved in.
Well, because blue is the accent colour on the front. It made sense to me to have it on the back. I don't know if please change it so I can see the numbers properly on TV. My failing eyes. Oh dear me. Anything to add from the? Because we've got the warm up jacket, tracksuit toppy stuff.
So it was definitely part of, and you can see on the warm up jacket, and it's
which
on
we've got on the video version, by the way. Yeah, so it's the navy blue warm up jacket, and it's got the Leeds cut out with the peacock pattern in the letters. Yeah.
So that's your example of the Art Deco
font.
kind of Leeds font that's actually on the socks as well, but doesn't render quite as well on the socks. So it's really good to kind of tie that in as well. We've never had a kind of a specific warm-up shirt. And then, again, taking it to kind of logical conclusion was, let's do a tracksuit as well. So
that's the
should have
overall.
zipped it up, I think, first. But that's the all over print that is the print that's inside the Leeds typeface on the back of the warm up kit. And yeah, if you want to do the full peacocking, I suggest that tracksuit, including the bottoms, with the away kit.
Look
Yeah,
the part Saturday night
definitely.
in town. Absolutely.
Yeah, and go and listen to some serious funk.
So now these things are out in the wild and they're being consumed. How do you sort of view it all now as a process from start to finish?
I'd want to do more. I think that's the biggest thing here, and I'd love to do more. With Leeds, but I kind of hope that other clubs kind of see this as well, and they're kind of like realizing that for all fans, we are Leeds fans, but this for me is what clubs should do, of delving deep and pushing things as much as they can, with history and design, and making making a club and a fan base feel kind of special. I think that's the bit that I kind of hope it moves out, and it feels like it is doing. There's a lot more design thinking going on, I think, with a lot of clubs. So
Yeah, I think in terms of my own mindset and my approach towards this is like even, I mean, I would never in a million years wear the third kit, but I know it's not for me because we've said that.
That's a shame because I've got you one.
I'll start wearing it. If it's free, I'll wear it. No, I just wouldn't. It's not something I would do. But my reference point for this is the grey and pink kit that you mentioned before, the charcoal and pink. Like, I bought that because we got promoted in it, and I wear it once a year, if that. I just never wear it, but it's a nice thing for me to have because it reminds me of a very nice time in our lives. And I feel the same way about the away kit this time, the peacock design. And I like the fact, I agree with what Michael said, is like it. Even if you don't like the design of the thing or it's too loud for you, whatever it might be, it speaks to the heritage. It's got that in it, and I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, maybe I didn't answer Michael's comment earlier about do you wish that I could have when the launch happened be able to explain it, and yet the answer is absolutely. And it's really good to be able to do this, and thanks for having me to be able to do the deep dive, because there is a lot to unpick, and it's really hard for any club to kind of decide, how much they can explain, because really attention wise, you've maybe got 5 seconds, 10 seconds of visual and a line, but that line of text might not be read by anybody, so it kind of it's going to have a reaction. But yeah, it's definitely, I think, better to now be able to kind of get it all out, and for people then to make up kind of subjective, make their mind up based on all the information. I always compare it to a bit like you go around an art gallery and you kind of look at a piece of art and you kind of have that instinctive 1 second thing where you go, I like that, what is it? And then you read the thing and you go, I like it even more, or you're like, it doesn't make any sense. And this is definitely part of especially the third.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, Ed. You're
welcome.
It's been really good to talk to you and catch up and just find out what was going on in your head, but also to understand the parameters and the framework. I think that's something that a lot of people just will not be aware of, will not understand, that there are limitations to what you can do. Like you said with the away kit, that actually they're saying, well, just for budgetary reasons or for process reasons, you can have 3 colours on this kit. You can't have everything that you want, so it will never look quite as you imagined. So
yeah, definitely.
It's good. I think it's good to get an insight into that and just understand.
And then the time it takes, and how far away you're designing. So as per the next season's kits, that's done. It's in the bag.
What does it look like?
I've not been involved in it. Unfortunately.
Have they gone for white for the home kit?
I believe so.
Exclusive. There you go. How many hours do you reckon you spent on the whole thing from start to finish? If you had to put a figure on it.
I'd say it was about 4 months' work, and working sort of 8 hours a day. So my maths is about as good as Moscow's is. So.
So it's a long old stretch then, anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And working in the evening. I mean, I love what I do, and I don't take it for granted. It's I love my job, and I'm happily designing this, and especially this project. I mean, this is it's hard for me to kind of think where I go from here, because it feels like I've, mic drop, kind of done.
Is this your climbing Everest?
It feels a bit like it, yeah, certainly. I'm on to the next one. That's where I've got to kind of now focus on, what Acid FC is and, where we take that. So
go down
this space.
Go down and get some oxygen. That's what I will say. Go
Yes,
down and get some oxygen. Thanks for coming in, Ed. We'll see you soon.
The Square Ball Podcast.